Hey guys, it's Ray with 321 Airsoft, and this is the first Table Talk. It's third week of February 2015, and I am here with guys with CY6 and Lindemann's team, which I don't know what the name of it is. So, anyway, okay, that's it. So we're gonna go over a few things. Basically, the form of this show, if you guys aren't familiar with it, is we're gonna talk about subjects such as guns, games, gear, all that crap that everybody talks about, but you know you don't videotape it. So we're basically just going to sit around, throw some ideas out there. We'll talk about it. You can agree with it. You can disagree with it. You can argue in the comments. I don't care. This is just something we're going to have fun with. You guys have any questions about how we're doing this?
Nope.
All right.
My turn. We're good.
I'm going to throw some questions out there. We're going to field some stuff that we took from Instagram. And aside from the one that says, so what's the deal with Cowboy's face? Now, if you guys don't know, Cowboy's down there. You've probably seen some of our YouTube videos where he's taking a punch to the dick. He's also in some of the Irene videos when he was playing with Spear. But CY6 now, a lot of the guys are using PTWs, so we'll talk about that later. One of the questions that people are asking is AEG or GBBR? Who wants to field that one? Electric airsoft gun? Go for it. Go for it.
Okay, so GBBRs, they run on green gas typically. Sometimes you can find a CO2 one.
Keep talking.
Sometimes you can find a CO2 one, but most of the time you're going to find a green gas. The problem with green gas is it doesn't work very well in the cold. If you get down below, what is it, 50 degrees, you start losing gas. You lose your shots per magazine. And with an AEG, you only have to worry about your battery. And if you use like a lithium polymer per se, instead of a nickel metal hydride battery, which is the standard battery, then you're going to get a lot more shots per magazine or per battery, and your gun will last a lot longer. You don't have to worry about gas pressure and gas loss and all that interesting stuff that factors into a GBBR as opposed to an AEG. AEGs work a lot better in the cold. The whole waterproof thing's technically a myth. Tick right here has submerged his AEG in the water completely, and to this day, does it work?
Yeah, it still works.
So you don't have really much to worry about with an AEG other than maybe blowing a piston or a fuse or gears, but all that can be rectified. GBBR, you have to worry about valves, all that sort of stuff. Nothing wrong with them. They work great. Pistols, gas blowback pistols work fantastically. I don't know very many people who don't use gas blowback pistols, but the rifles, if you gave me a choice between a GBBR and an AEG, I'd pick the AEG every time.
What would you say if somebody said, for realism, though?
Well, with the GBBR, you have a smaller mag capacity. For what, 50 rounds in the magazine?
Yeah, but a lot of guys will say like 30 round. Airsoft puts too many BBs in a gun for realism anyway. That's the big argument.
You buy standard or low cap magazines.
Yeah, but
that's what I run in all of my AEGs. I mean, I use, you know, for my valve, for instance, I run 50 round magazines.
Yeah.
I typically don't run anything over 70 rounds, and even that is a little bit much for me, I would think.
But you got to admit, a GBBR is closer to realism if that's what you're
as far as the functionality.
Yeah, I would totally agree
with that.
You know,
the whole
I think
bolt carrier.
one of the biggest advantages of a GBBR, or one of the best places to use it, is probably, thank you, Peyton. I would say is like at an indoor field, or you know, if you're doing something indoors where you don't necessarily have to worry about the temperature as much as you would outside. I feel like you would benefit a lot from using a GBR in there. You know, you get to keep the realism. It's the coolness factor. You don't have to worry about.
Well, it still has a cooldown factor, as far as like full auto versus semi-auto.
But what if you don't play in Midwest? I mean, you're in like, Florida,
the mag's
Texas.
still gonna get cold once you dump all the gas out of it. It's still like KWA. They came out with their new mag that's supposed to be rated for as low as 40 to 35 degrees outside, and it still has a cooldown factor even in 50 to 80 degree weather.
My biggest issue with the GBBRs too, I think, is well, one, the price of the magazines. I mean, you're looking to pay, what, like $30 to $50 per mag, which is fairly expensive. I mean, for $50, you could get 5 mid caps for an AEG.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, off the question that he's asking, gas blowback. If you're looking for realism, I would say is beyond, one of the closest ones compared to an AEG.
Right. I totally agree with that. If you're looking for realism and you wanna and you've got the time and the effort to put into a GBBR, I would say,
money.
Yeah,
I mean,
money.
this game's
definitely.
this entire thing's hobby. It's a big hobby.
Yep.
So if you got the money, you're gonna dump it into it because you like it. And
if you're starting out though, no gas blowback.
No.
Go to
AEG. Definitely AEG.
Yeah, go to
definitely
AEG.
AEG.
Definitely
Yeah.
AEG. So
that's definitely where you need to be if you're a new player.
This guy asks, why should I go with a P-Star? PolarStar or HPA system.
It's a love-hate thing.
It's been there, done that kind of thing.
It's You necessarily don't have to go with a P-Star. AEGs are just as efficient. A lot of people just like having a PolarStar. They can, pull it out of their case, and not play for 6 months, fill their tank, and go out and play. You could do the same thing with an AEG. Some people think that the PolarStar is a little easier because it doesn't really take a lot of maintenance as far as stripping anything or keeping the upgrades as far as like how far it shoots. With a PolarStar, it's as simple as a ECU in the back. It's a fire control unit. You can dial in rounds per second. You can adjust the nozzle dwell and all that fun stuff that goes in with a P-Star. But at the end of the day, you're tethered to a gun that you can't set down or you can't let somebody else shoot without giving them the tank and the gun. And you also have to make sure you wear a plate carrier that has some kind of backpack to be able to hold the tank. So
transitioning from left to right is a lot harder as well.
It's really, at the end of the day, is are you willing to hold the tank and be tethered to a gun at all times versus not having it be able to set it down or letting somebody else whose gun went down and you're dead. I can't just hand it to you unless I'm standing in a vicinity where you can just take it and shoot it.
I've had one. I've had AEGs. I've had all that. PolarStar, hands down. If you can get over the tank, having to get that filled and do all that stuff, really does put the BBs down range in the most consistent way.
Oh yeah.
I mean, range-wise, every BB is pretty much going and dialed in at the same spot. If you get the barrel and the hop-up to match with that, it's a laser. But you get to fields that don't have gas, you got to plan ahead. I mean, I guess you could say with AEG, you got the issue of not charging your batteries anyway. So I mean, there's a trade-off for both, but
right.
The cost for a P-Star is up there, and I think the advantage isn't worth the cost.
No.
I don't think so. I think
no.
You can get away with AEGs and still be happy.
Well, you can always walk up to your friend and be like, hey, my battery died. Here's an extra battery. Yeah. Not everybody has just an extra tank that they're carrying.
Or scuba tank.
What happens too when you go to events where they don't offer air fills?
Well, right, exactly.
Yeah, you have to plan ahead.
If
your community supports the PolarStar, like there's a store that deals with it, there's a field that fills the tanks, by all means go for it. I think if you have the support system for it, it's not a bad system to have.
No, not at all.
No,
definitely
not a bad system.
No.
Fantastic.
I mean, you're basically getting high rate of fire, trigger response, consistency.
It's quiet.
It's quiet. And you just buy it.
Pretty much.
You just pay for it and you've got it.
Yep.
You don't have to build it. You don't have to do anything like that.
Drop it right in.
Yeah, you can drop it into some really sweet bodies and build outs. So PolarStars, it's got its market, but if there are not a lot of people playing with them in your area, find something else. I don't know. It's up to you. Personal preference, I guess.
Yeah.
Turtle or a frog? Which would you rather be? I think that's one of our friends sending that one.
Frog.
Frog.
Yeah,
Frog.
Turtle. Every time.
Turtle. Turtle's armored.
What's your
Yep,
reasoning
exactly.
behind that?
I'm armored.
He's
I
armored.
can go. I'm in my home at all
They're
times.
slow.
I'd say frog.
Frogs can jump.
Yeah.
Slow is
Frog.
smooth, smooth is fast, as we say in the airsoft community.
Oh, God.
Do we say
Yeah,
that
but
in
you
the
stay
airsoft
slow. You
community?
don't
When
actually
have
go
we
any
ever said that?
You ever heard Shaq say it?
Still don't even know who
dropping
Shaq
name
is.
bombs now.
Payton,
Frog all the way.
Payton. That's
He's
one of the.
video too.
Yeah.
When's
Someone said, I hope your website goes well, but poor Peyton, he's all passed out. So.
I
All
was
right.
asleep earlier.
Here's a fun one. Why do P-Star users typically seem like they're on roids?
That tank is heavy.
Oh, man.
That tank is big.
Are you talking about like because they're beefy, or are they just like they
seem all
rage?
powerful.
They
They seem-
rage
they-
and they're
They seem like they're Superman sometimes.
I mean, you got caught it. With
I don't
his
know.
clear
Again, I
burst.
think it's the community.
Yeah, I
If
think
you
it
got
is
a community of people that act like that, and they
Yeah.
all run around PolarStar and they're spraying the shit out of each other.
Maybe they give discounts at gyms.
I never thought about that. Maybe
Yeah,
they do.
that's good.
I'm gonna go to Lifetime and
Here's
See
one.
if they-
Here's one. Is KWA and other major companies? Let me start that again. Is KWA and other major companies overpriced? And what is the most reliable,
reasonably priced.
reasonably priced? All right, sorry, I can't read. Reasonably priced airsoft manufacturer.
Best value for your money.
Yeah, best bang for your buck.
Depends on the platform, the model. Like M4, AK, G36.
I mean, every company has their ups and downs on style of weaponry. You know, each company has, you know, their variants of AKs and M4s and M14s. you tend to weed out the ones of those companies that just aren't up to par with other companies as far as, you know, KWA, GMP, King Arms, you know, Aries and stuff like that has a huge line of guns.
Do you think KWA is overpriced?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What you get, it's a lot more money than it's worth.
I would say a KWA, if they could hit like the mid 200s, it'd be a pretty good gun.
And
300 or below
Yeah.
for a decent gun.
Sub 300 right now. I mean, because let's just face it, reliability, best bang for the buck. I'd say easily G&G combat machine.
yeah.
if you want an
hands
M4
down.
platform,
Yeah.
hands down, best M4 platform.
And then I'd say AK platform, any of the SEMA line.
SEMA.
SEMA's
are
are
awesome.
awesome.
Semas are great.
Yeah.
I have
Semas are
11
great
SEMA
AKs.
AKs, and they all work perfectly.
Everything else, I pretty much stay away from.
King Arms.
What
What about
LCT?
E&L makes a pretty good.
All the
Yeah,
best
yeah,
best
yeah,
bang for your buck.
But E&L is, you know, you're looking at 350 price point for E&L.
It depends on what model you're going with. I mean, some of the other models they go for the mid-range 200s, I believe.
We're talking about standard platforms.
Yeah, let's say a
Well, I mean, it
wood
is
furniture E&L AK.
Well,
Standard.
the wood furniture is going to drive your price up more. I mean,
Okay,
simply
polymer
because if you're going for a
AK-74.
But you
I
can
mean-
get a SEMA AK for just around $200 with
If
it.
that.
Yeah, for
And they hold up great.
Oh,
even
yeah,
after you've
without a
thrown
doubt.
it and caught it on fire.
I've never
Yeah, catch
personally.
it on fire.
You can throw them over walls and stuff. It happens to me all the time.
yeah.
Yeah, they're
I mean, you know, stay away from the stuff that's kind of proprietary. I know there's a lot of stuff on the market. I know we're gonna get burned because we're saying shit like this, but like the Ditech guns, nice builds, but
yeah.
you know,
Proprietary.
proprietary. A lot of parts and stuff. That's another issue we talk about with KWA is KWA is a nice gun. It works great, but when something breaks in it, man, it's hard to find unless you're buying stuff from KWA's Pro Shop.
Yeah.
You can't do much with their hop up. The
Nope.
hop up is proprietary, and then you know, that stuff comes back to burn you.
It does.
Yep. Is there any other questions?
that one.
Would you consider serving fried peanut butter sandwiches?
What's
It's
a
actually
sandwich?
spelled sandwich.
What's a sandwich?
Sandwich.
Is that a Sammy?
It's a Sammy.
Oh.
It's a Sammy model.
I would like
No.
I would
would
love
try it.
fried
No,
peanut butter
there's
sandwiches.
kids who have peanut allergies, man. They
Supply
walk in
and
that door
demand.
and drop dead right there.
Supply and
Gluten
demand.
allergies. You gotta eat gluten-free bread.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, that's true.
I
It'd
got
have to have
text
gluten-free,
I fry every
one.
peanutless peanut butter sandwiches, just so we could like take care
Cater
of
to everyone.
Yeah, because otherwise people would be dead.
With pistachio
Or
butter.
gluten free.
That's
Nah.
what we just said. Gluten-free. You
Pistachio
gotta care
butter
about your
sandwiches.
peanut allergy kids and your gluten-free kids.
So let's just not
What
serve
about your
fried
people who
peanut
are
butter
allergic to
sandwiches.
gluten-free?
How about Mike and Ike's?
Mike and Ike.
Yes.
Mike and Ike's.
Yeah.
Good
Oh,
substitute.
Mike and Ike's.
Good job, Cowboy. That was a good one.
We eat a
kicked
lot of
in.
Mike and Ike's in the store. That's for
Strong
sure.
words.
Yeah.
Nobody else has sent in any other questions at this time. I mean, the rest of them are all pretty much. So I guess we just go to events. What have you been to? What do you recommend?
How much money you want to spend?
That's true.
That is true.
It's true. Okay, big events. You got the big three: American Milsim, Black Sheep, and
Lion Claws.
Lion Claws events.
I've been to 2 out of the 3. I've been to Lion Claws.
Yep.
I've been to and Black Sheep games. Just recently went to my first Black Sheep game this year.
It was fantastic.
My personal opinion, it was awesome. The way the game was set up, the mount site, it was a good experience. 24-hour games. It will really test how well you can push yourself and how well your gear can handle or stand up in your guns. It really pushes you to a whole new level versus, I like Lion Claws events. They play at good mount sites as well, but you're only playing out of the 2 days. You're only playing a roughly about 9 to 10 hours from Saturday to Sunday, and you get to sleep in between, which isn't bad. But to me, Black Sheep is where it's at for me. I hope to go to American Milsim game. Heard really good things about them. So hopefully sometime this year we'll make it out to an American Milsim game.
I'd say I've been to a lot of Lion Claw events, and I've even commanded at a lot of Lion Claw events. I would say that the AO really sets the tone for a lot of Lion Claw events.
Yeah, it does.
As for gameplay and stuff, some of it can get pretty basic and ends up force on force. But if the AO, for instance, the steel mill in Trenton, Michigan, fantastic AO.
Yes, it was.
Zussman at Fort Knox, fantastic AO.
Yes, it is.
I
Beautiful.
do like the one in Indiana. What is the
Muscatatuck.
Muscatatuck.
MUTC.
But Muscatatuck, if the game is played out wrong, it ends up kind of like a 50-yard line force on force, and the game really falls apart.
Yep.
So I think if they worked on some of that stuff, the Lion Claw games would really pick up. I forgot, there was something you were going to mention. You mentioned something. Oh, you talked about not going to big events because you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much that I don't want to attend big events. I mean, I'm all about building up the local community and working on the local community. I mean, if you're not getting, younger kids into the games and, introducing them to MilSim and giving them a taste of what the bigger events can be, I mean, I kind of feel like Airsoft will eventually kind of fizzle out and just turn into,
That's a good point.
A bunch of old men.
Yeah, and then once that community dies out, it's dead. And honestly, I mean, everybody has their personal preference for what kind of game they like to play. In the Midwest here, especially Ohio, I'd say that MilSim is a huge type of event that people like to play at. But if we're not working in the community here and getting kids interested and stuff, it's just going to end up turning into a big Speedsoft community, like a lot of stuff you see out in California.
Yeah,
No, I totally agree with that. I also think that you have the veteran guys who go out to these bigger events, and that attend local Airsoft games can kind of give them the heads up, what they're expected and what they need to kind of go through to get ready and maybe mentor those younger kids who are up and coming in the community for the MilSim games that are happening around here to kind of get them prepared for bigger events. Because I as being a younger player, they like when veterans hang around them and tell them like, hey, let's go do this, or hey, let's go do that, and it drives them to the bigger games.
Mm-hmm.
So that means they're going to come to our games or local events and want to play more and practice. And I think all together, big events and local events, it's hand in hand. They both kind of go together. If you're attending local events, to go and be prepared for a larger event.
I say go to the big games if you get the chance. Go to them, but don't forget your small place where you play at, because that's where it all started.
Support your community.
Yeah, and you got to help out the little guys, so that way later down the road, this sport can continue.
Yeah,
it's all built at a local level.
Yeah.
All right, I got a couple more questions that came in. We'll wrap up with these, and then we'll throw a few more things out there, and then we'll wrap this up. But question is, what gun do you have? Let's start down there. Preacher.
Let's see.
What gun do you use?
What gun do I use? Right now, I'm using a VFC Block 2 with a PTW in the works.
And I got a Systema PTW, and I love it. Yeah.
I have a 416 Systema PTW, and it's probably hands down to me the best gun I've ever fielded.
All right, I've personally ran a couple guns. I just recently moved to an Echo 1 DMR, but I've ran in the past 2 really good G&G combat machines. They're just solid and they've worked for years, so I have no reason to go past them. So
I can't even begin on what guns I've used, but what I currently use right now will be, as soon as I get to field it, will be a Systema TW5, which is the MP5 PTW. In the past, I've used Systema M4 and all of my AKs, all of them.
I can't help but laugh that he bought the TW5. If you wanted to waste money, you could have just given it to me. I would have done something better with it. But,
What? He'd have bought himself a TW5.
Yeah, he would have got him. No, he would have got himself an M4.
I got a surefire front end.
I currently have 2 full metal King Arm platforms, bone stock, except for different hop-up buckings and different furniture on it and painted. And I've owned a PTW, I've owned a PolarStar, I've owned, combat machine, which I lent the tick and I haven't seen it back yet. I don't know where that gun went.
It's in a shelf.
I want my gun back. Who's calling us right now? The store's closed.
We are closed.
It's been closed for about an hour.
Go hang it up. Just pick it up and hang it up. So anyway, sorry about that if you're calling. Stop calling.
It's 8:20.
Yes. Read our business hours. All right, so I don't know if they're posted anywhere, so sorry.
well, someone from Kentucky.
Kentucky. Anyway,
Was it 703?
I have 2 full metal King Arms that, with a stock hop up tuned in, can shoot just as far as any of your dumb our hops.
Farther.
So if you want to come and have a big argument with me face to face at the store and tell me that your our hop design,
God damn it.
we're closed. For God's sakes.
His hop up
Just pick it
off
up and
will
go back
shoot
there and talk
farther.
to him.
Yes, my hop up off will shoot further than most tuned guns or spending hundreds of dollars on R-hops and
250
barrel cuts
feet.
and stuff.
No, wow.
I don't even think I have a Type 4 barrel in my gun, do I? I think it's just a
No.
stock brass barrel.
No.
So
I just want to go on record and say King Arms are awesome.
I wish I
Yes,
could get
I have one still.
Yeah,
Still
for like
have
a
it.
stock gun
Absolutely.
for.
I'm
I
pretty
mean,
sure everybody at this table, at least 5 of us.
they were
have
they were
had
like
King
what,
Arms.
$200 or less for
I
them?
have King
They're under
Arms.
200
I
bucks.
have
We
200 for my
paid-
full metal.
Yeah, we paid $199 for them, and out of the box, they were awesome.
I still used it. I used it to the last line clause, and then I went.
And
to
it shot amazing.
It's great. I love it. So, and that leaves us to Lindemann, which I don't even think we should give him all the time because he's gonna have to explain all of his impressionist stuff. So,
Yeah, it's kind of a loaded question in terms of what gun I use. I mean, I own probably over 20 guns at this point. One of the ones that I use most often, I run Russian kit a lot. I use the LCT ASVAL or ASVAL, depending on which way you say it. It's tuned as a DMR. It's one of my favorite guns. It shoots great. It's accurate. You know, it looks cool. Not many people have it. Lately, we've been doing more German-related stuff. I've been running the Humorous, Ares, whatever you want to call it, the G36 with the AG36 grenade launcher. When I do American stuff, I typically run VFC Block 2 or a G&G Scar L.
G&G, Scar L.
Yeah, G&G is probably one of my favorite, and it's a gun I've never had an issue with. Never had to fix it, never had to do anything with it. It's my go-to gun if I need a gun to use.
I can answer this one. Why don't you do sponsorships? Gosh, sponsorships. Let me explain why I don't do sponsorships or don't believe in sponsorships. I think you need to be you need to be contributing to the community, not asking for the community to give you something. Now, if you're a player that I see out there all the time, volunteering, making games, writing games, hosting events, and your team is active in the community and stuff like that, then we will offer you some sort of internal discount on all the stuff you buy from us. But I'm not about to just reach out to somebody I don't know who does nothing for the community. Now, I don't know whether or not this person does or doesn't, but to ask for something and not have given anything to the community, I don't think you deserve it. This isn't, you know, we're not here to make a ton of money off this. We're here to keep the airsoft community running and thriving. And I just don't think that, unless you're the kid out there in the rain refereeing and hosting games and shit like that, you don't deserve a damn thing. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't mean to be that harsh about it, but don't ask me for something if you've never given anything to your airsoft community. And I'm not about to give you free guns to do reviews on YouTube. I can do that and not get views either. So
I think we've already been there and done that.
I mean, there are plenty of people, yes men, on YouTube now that we don't have to worry about them. And they just kind of, oh, it's a good gun, it's metal, it feels good. You know what? If you're not going to tell me any real, honest truth about the gun, save your review. I really don't care about it. So, because every gun out there has got a flaw. Mention it in your review, you're not being honest. So, sorry.
Even the high-end guns.
You just
some
want,
of the
you just want the
PTWs.
gun.
And I guess the last thing is
I
is
asleep?
Peyton still asleep in the back? No, he's right here.
I'm right here.
So
I was asleep for a little bit.
He got his rest before he did this. And yes, we are trying to get our website up and running, and we've been trying to do all the input and stuff like that. So we're about to wrap up this first attempt at this round table bullshit. I don't know if it was entertaining or fun or anything.
It's a square table.
We're the knights of the square table.
Rectangle.
Exactly.
No. This is they call it a round table. But it's
Oh,
a rectangle.
are we
It's a
the
round table
rectangle?
conversation?
Are we
but
the
we
knights
have
of the
to
round
face the
table?
camera, so
Yes.
it can't be round.
I've been knighted.
Okay.
What is
we-
this thing?
I'm not doing
Are
it
we
with
the
my face.
knights
What?
of the round
What is
table?
this corner thing?
Yeah,
I don't know. Rub your wiener on it or something.
That's too small to do anything.
Can't do it on a round table. So,
Man.
anything else you guys want to add? Or anything you want to talk about? We'll catch up next week. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. If you have any questions or anything like that, shoot them at us. If they're worthy of answering, we'll write them down and we'll answer them next week. But until then, anything else, guys?
Nope.
Nope.
We're
Devil's
out.
Playground is an outdoor field. That was what the
BB
code was.
Wars is great.
Oh, you asked if Devil's Playground was an outdoor field?
He asked if the
No, the guy who called.
Yeah, the guy.
The guy called like
No.
3 times in a row.
Sorry,
Yeah.
field's not
What
indoor.
was?
It's outdoor.
Outdoor. Play in the
So,
rain.
For hours
You know-
on Google.
Play in the snow.
We have this channel. We have a lot of subscribers. If you guys want to send us a product to review, I don't recommend it because we're going to give you an honest review on it. And I know a lot of distributors and a lot of vendors don't want to hear bad stuff about their product. And trust me, there's a bunch of stuff I want to say about a few things, but I got to bite my tongue. So
Agreed.
yeah,
Still need guns.
yeah, because when large distributors start taking over Airsoft, they kind of shoehorn themselves in there, and they get a bunch of yes men, and they sell you stuff that's got some serious issues, and you're not allowed to say anything bad about their product, or they pull your
Blacklist you.
dealership. Yeah. So
Yep.
that's what it's become, people. There's no honesty in airsoft when it comes to products anymore. And
Only hit calling.
Maybe
well.
that's questionable.
Hey, that's questionable.
Okay,
So
Jack, why don't you speak
I think
from
next week what
experience?
we'll do is we'll talk about speed
You
softening,
want me
the
to
whole
start on that?
California scene, what we're seeing, videos of people posting fights on YouTube. Does that help or hurt the airsoft community? I mean, these are things that we'll talk about next week. But until then, I think we'll wrap it up. See you next time.
So yeah.